Leighton, I am interested to know what you think are the characteristics of a life well lived.
You know, Paul says in Ephesians 2:10 that we are God's workmanship. It's interesting that word is God's poema, God's poetry. I think as Charles Williams said, our lives are lines in God's poetry. So I think I would say the beauty of holiness and wholeness, to sum it up. Because the lines of a poem, each one in itself is beautifully shaped and expressed, but is part of a larger whole. So I think when our individual lives reflect the beauty of Christ as part of the whole body of Christ, it depends on our gifts, how we use that, but I would say the beauty of holiness is the central thing. And holiness being wholeness of all the parts of who we are, all the parts of the beauty of creation that God has made. Every bit here is reflecting His glory, because who was Abraham Kuyper said the world is a theater of God's glory. You say that each of us has a bit part, but also a very important part to make it work, which doesn't mean we're perfect people. I remember talking once to Rita Dove, who is the Poet Laureate of the United States. We were on a panel about mistakes and their consequences, and I said, Rita, what do you do when you make a mistake in a poem? She said, I don't make mistakes. She said, if I write something it's not quite right, I just write around it. I figure how I can use it, and I think that's what God does. Even takes our mistakes that are not beautiful in themselves to make it part of His wholeness. Or the other image is stained glass windows are made of tesserae, which are broken bits of glass that when they're put together, and the beauty, the color, whatever image there is, in a stained glass window reflects a wholeness. So we're God's tesserae.
Leighton, we're just in the beginning days of developing mentoring communities, and 3 of my group are hopefully going to be able to attend training here in the States in the near future. I think they'd love to know what your hopes and dreams would be for the whole mentoring community in Australia.
Well, you know, I love Australia. I've been there, a dozen, maybe 15 times doing evangelism, and we want to see these mentoring communities grow, not as something that's forced or organized from the top. We want to see it as something that would grow life upon life. Because I think back to when you and I first met. I was coming to Australia with our team to do some evangelistic work, and was it 50 years ago?
1988.
Get that right. And I asked our friend Bishop John Reed, I said, there are a couple of younger blokes in Australia have a passion to tell the gospel. It could come and help us and be with us, and you and 2 others were there. And so it just grew out of that. Then we got to know each other. You had visions. I thought maybe we can support those visions in some way, so we just began that relationship, and out of that you became part of what we call the point group that we're meeting here today. Every one of us met in that way. We didn't go out advertising for future point group members. Someone told us about someone, so forth. The people that you have are people that you have known. You've seen them. You felt that they had a worthwhile investing time in. Now I hope the same thing will happen through them. So it's an organic growth, as in John 15, as we stay connected to Christ, help each other to stay connected to Christ, being the homeboys and homegirls of His Word, as He said, be at home in my Word. But they'll also pass this on to others.